in what you were just saying, if I'm trying to think of a Gyoko redemption arc, it's him being an art critic, like him being like a Yelp reviewer of artists. Maybe the art game isn't for him, but he probably would always have some shit to say about somebody else's art. Like he could always be like, think about how he's admiring, or not even admiring, but analyzing and talking about Haganeska and his method right now.
Oh yeah, he was not a teacher. This man was not a teacher. He either thought of himself as the best new-coming artist around, or he was some type of art critic.
No, okay, like how we're joking about it, sure, but truthfully, how Demon Slayer has portrayed previous demons and their extraordinary skill in writing those demons in the paths that lead them to where they are today. Mm-hmm. Think about the drum demon in season 1 even. What horrifying tragic backstory would make you feel for Gyoko, or make him end up to be the person he is today? Is it just nobody ever wants to acknowledge anything he's done in life, and that's put him down this path?
No one remembers him. I don't know. Creating so much.
He's overcompensating.
Always being rejected at every turn, and he put his whole soul and everything into his art, and his art was disrespected, and no one ever appreciated it, and it was everything he put himself into, everything he threw himself into, to the point that he probably even forgot to eat. Because like sometimes if I'm like really into like a painting or a piece, I will forget that food exists and that I need to eat. Maybe it's that he was rejected so much from his, and what sometimes like to an artist, like probably their painting or their work is an extension of themselves. So if you reject that, you are rejecting like a piece of their heart.
So I wonder if it was like maybe he used to have a similar way of making or being in his own life that's similar to the immersion that Haganeska shows and determination that he shows. And after a while of that, he started to care about the reception, if he never got any. And then over his demon life and a course of time, now he's so focused on like the attention of it, and he can get it through
fear.
Yeah,
he can now get the attention that he wanted before, and the respect in his art that he wanted before, probably in his past life, now out of fear,
rather than, sure, it's a reaction, but is it the reaction that means the most? Mm-hmm. Is fear an easy reaction to get, and that's why down the line it's going to be the inevitability that it's not the reaction that means the most.
You know what would be crazy to see? How would Gyoko react if, when he's giving his spiels and stuff, if someone was like, yeah, I get it, like somebody's about to kill, like what would he think?
What would Mitsuri and Gyoko's conversation look like, you know?
I don't know. I'd want to see Tanjiro and Gyoko, probably.
Oh, okay. So both are good, because I could imagine Mitsuri being like love and trying to find the beauty in love and things, but in the same way I could see Tanjiro doing the dumb face like he does
and like listening to him, be like, okay, I get it, but in his like internal dialogue, he's like, I don't get it. What's he saying? I don't get it. Nezuko, what's he saying?
So I'm like,
what would his reaction, if this is our headcanon of what his past life was like, it makes you wonder if, because the demons sometimes have reactions to something that they either wanted. Because if you think of Rui and his reaction to seeing Tanjiro saving Nezuko, and like, oh my god, that sibling love bond, like,
bro,
give Gyoko something that he had wanted, like actually from his human life, I wonder how that would...
I figured it out.
Okay.
Like, I figured out his past.
What is it?
He's an artisan. He makes pots, and he...
It has to... Oh, you're right. It has to be vasive.
And he was doing pottery, and he put all this extra care and attention into even painting his pottery, had water on them, different designs. Nobody acknowledged them. Pots aren't to be cute and pretty and looked at. Pots are to be carried. Just tools to have things carried in. Yeah, and then
more for practical means, and he was making pretty ones, and it's like, there was probably a lot of like poor people. He was probably in a village.
His family needed him to make more pots to make more money, and whereas trying to just turn out as many as possible, he was not, and putting more focus into the attention and care into them,
and then
genuinely, that's I feel like that's a decent.
I like it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A couple things. I love talking. I love Demon Slayer so much. when we got Kotetsu pushing his hands onto the water vase that Tokito was in, there was really cool like just shadow on Kotetsu's hand.
The whole water effect is nice with this vase that he's
and like
in.
when the knife was trying to go through it.
I love that. I mean, even when Tokito was poking his own sword out.
Yeah.
The whole thing acts like you'd imagine.
You see the shadow on his hands where he's touching it. It's just really nice. The attention to detail.
It's like you're
amazing.
at the aquarium and you're like, whoa. Except this is a lot scarier and sadder, and you think the person inside the tank is about to die.
It'd be like the aquarium if wasn't glass, but instead of glass, it was some like plastic or like a water bed,
like a plastic
type thing.
Bubble water bed that you could see through into the tank.
Yeah,
which they might create someday for like an interactive aquarium.
That would be such a bad idea.
I mean, you can't look. He's stabbing it with a knife and nothing's happening.
If it was this strong, sure, that you're right. But I still wouldn't go there.
I mean, maybe if I was passing a shark tank, I wouldn't want to go in there.
So, if you had to make a guess at where Mitsuri's going next in terms of Tanjiro or Tokito, Tanjiro, right? Yeah, same.
And is that purely because we saw an opening for this season? Maybe.
In my mind, it's just like one Hashira per upper rank.
And I think it also makes sense in terms of like where Tokito is at the end of this interaction. Yeah. You know, and at the end of this episode, I have belief, especially we get this emotional, him being told to never give up by Tanjiro and then having some memories unlocked for him. Oh, he is about to go to town.
Yeah.
After he gets broken out of this vase.
I have one more thought, and it's a little out there.
Okay.
I have a bad feeling in my stomach about Nezuko. Like there was something about when she regenerated her legs and her limbs and was on the ground and Tanjiro acknowledged that she'd be okay. Like, something felt off-putting to me about it.
I find this whole fact of how fearful even she is feeling in front of this demon, in front of the hatred demon, it seems like even she is being affected in a very similar way to Tanjiro and Genya. And so that does worry me. But yeah, there was this weird, him checking her leg out.
She'll be fine.
So is it that the tattoo goes wherever a regeneration has happened? Is that like the thing? Maybe. But I do get you that there was that just him being like, oh, okay, gotta make sure Nezuko's okay before I like go on to.
There was something with the timing. But there was a weird timing of the timing made me unsettled.
Looking down at her leg and being like, oh, okay, she regenerated. But it was almost like a little longer.
Yeah.
Like there was a little more there to breed some possible suspicion or skepticism about if she was actually okay.
Which is scary, because that's a route I don't want to go down.
But also, like, how is Tanjiro, Tanjiro can't fight this demon by himself, I don't believe.
Maybe
and
he can.
It seems like Genya and Nezuko are also as scared as him. So, honestly, I don't know. I really hope none of them are, like, liabilities to if a possible Hashira runs in. I hope that they can kind of stand their ground, because the last thing you want is to have to jump in and like protect 3 people while also trying to defeat this upper rank at the same time. But who could do it? Mitsuri, I totally believe in her.
Yeah. I'd say that Demon Slayer is the hardest show to wait a week for in our entire channel history, for me specifically.
Is it because it's so like action?
It's a roller coaster. I hate roller coasters.
It worked so well in a movie format. It worked so freaking well in a movie format.
I think in a series format too, man.
Or like that's like watch. Yeah, it works really well when it's all already out and you're kind of can like binge watch it as much as you want. Especially because so many of the episodes are like you get right back into an actual action scene and fight into the next episode.
I will say that like they're different experiences, right? And it's not at all. It never is a detriment that it's week to week in Demon Slayer, and that in itself is something to be praised. That being said, in my own time, I have been rewatching season 2 of Demon Slayer, and holy shit, when it gets to I think like episode 13 maybe, or 12 maybe to like episode 18, that entire like span of a fight, being able to rewatch the episodes
probably like
one
an
after
hour
another,
of real life time or like in universe time broken into all these episodes.
Fucking good, man. Like nothing can compare to that. Like the level of quality and animation and choreography is just so insane. And it's always a joy to watch the show
I
because
think
it's fun to talk about too.
I think Demon Slayer does well for, even if I think it works really well in terms of like watching it all together, watching it in movie format. I also think that it reminds me of like a childhood Sunday cartoon or something that you'd be on your couch and you'd be like, it picks up right where you left off. And it's that I never like forgot what was about to happen because I looked forward to it all week. Like, I know what's going to happen next episode. And because it's so action packed and so exciting and such like a moment to do on whatever day you watch it, it's such an event that you definitely will remember when you get into the next episode a week later.
It's also personally one of my favorite shows to discuss and talk about with you, because it hits so many levels, right? I feel like we can have fun in like a comedic way talking about it. We can analyze the characters and the development of it. We can analyze the animation and the direction of it. We can try to theory craft. Like, it kind of hits all of those notches. And my only complaint about Demon Slayer is that this season's release date is inconvenient for
like
us specifically,
1:45 or
which
whatever.
is just not fair for us to complain actually about.
The other thing that I love about Demon Slayer is there's a lot of shows that have like this power capping individual main character. It just ends up being super powerful for some reason and ends up being able to defeat every single opponent that's in front of them. Like, oh wait, how are they able even to defeat that opponent when this one's supposed to be even stronger than the last? And the growth that happens, or just the fact that they somehow are literally the most powerful person on the planet is so unrealistic. And what I like about Demon Slayer is it's not that. Like, Tanjiro's strong and he keeps building and he keeps growing, but there's also that dynamic of sometimes you need help from other people. Sometimes there's a trick you need to figure out where's the weak point on this demon. But a lot of the time it's a joint effort in order to and that's what it shows, the power scaling as these demons, and then these demon slayers as humans, and that what humans have to do is come together in order to defeat these demons.
A great point. Whereas what I hate about the things that you're like saying this isn't is everything that I dislike about Dragon Ball Z. What you're saying, everything you like, reminds me but isn't identical to everything I love about Dragon Ball and the original series. I think that this does like the coming together aspect well, like, because that doesn't happen too much in original Dragon Ball in terms of like the final boss at least. But in this show, it like shows you like the next step, right?
It feels more satisfying.
But not that you weren't relating to Dragon Ball because you haven't seen it.
I've never
But
seen Dragon Ball.
It feels more satisfying in the sense of like it's natural progression, but also like, oh, I get that the main character has like properties about him that a main character would, but he isn't completely reliant on that fact for his growth and his victories.
And we also get in Demon Slayer that growth has a lot to do with effort. And time and training and learning different techniques and breathing techniques and experience. So it makes it feel more satisfying in the end when they are able to defeat a demon finally. It's like, oh, yes, we actually got this one. Because it actually has you on the edge of your seat being like, can we actually win here? Because you know there's a possibility that they might not be able to. You know that like stakes are high. Obviously, they're probably going to survive. Probably. But you still feel the tense energy of the fight. Because you know it's going to be hard fought.
Yeah, and that's interesting because like the tenseness doesn't come from will they or won't they die at the end of this episode, or will they defeat the demon at the end of this episode, at least early on like this, right? I think it comes from the actual pacing of the fights and like the excitement and like
it actually
that it brings.
Feels like a tough fight.
Yeah, it feels like a real fight that I'm watching, you know? It's awesome. All right.
Oh, okay.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time. It never is a detriment that it's week to week in Demon Slayer. It never is a detriment that it's week to week in Demon Slayer. It never is a detriment.
It never is a detriment.